It is 9 p.m., you had steak for dinner, you swore you were stuffed, and now you're pacing the kitchen staring at the fridge like it's about to confess its secrets. You open it once, close it, then open it again, like maybe something magical appeared in there in the last 20 seconds. And somehow, the thought of cookies or chips suddenly sounds like the answer to all of life's problems. Yep, that's the carnivore cravings ambush. Right here, I want to make you feel seen, because if you have been on carnivore for more than 48 hours, you have probably felt the exact thing. One moment you're proud of your ribeye dinner, the next you're negotiating with yourself about whether cheese counts as dessert. And look, I'll say it, cravings are sneaky. They don't kick in when you're actually hungry. No, they show up when you're full, comfortable, and finally trying to relax. Like a bad salesman knocking on your door just when you've sat down on the couch. The good news are that cravings aren't random, and they are not a sign that you are weak or failing at carnivore. They happen for some very specific reasons. And the even better news? Once you know why they show up, you can beat them without feeling like you are at war with your own brain. So let's break this down. First, we are going to cover why cravings even exist in the first place. And spoiler, your brain acts like a toddler when it doesn't get its sugar fix. Then, I will show you the quick hacks that actually work when a craving hits. And finally, we will set you up with long-term strategies so cravings barely show up at all. Because here's the deal, if you are serious about carnivore, the cravings are coming whether you like it or not. But by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to handle them without raiding your kid's snack drawer at midnight. You are not broken. Cravings do not mean that you are weak, lazy, or destined to fail this diet. They mean your body is doing exactly what it's been trained to do for years. And honestly, that should be a relief. Think about it. If you have spent decades running on carbs and sugar, your brain has built an entire operating system around that. Of course, it's going to protest when you suddenly cut its favorite fuel. It's like taking a toddler's iPad away. You can expect yelling, bargaining, maybe even a dramatic flop on the floor. But none of that means that you are a bad parent. It just means the kid's addicted to screen time. Same thing goes with your body. These cravings are basically your metabolism saying, wait, where's my sugar hit? This new steak only plan is cute, but can we please get a donut? Those cravings are biology, not lack of willpower. Your body is recalibrating, your brain is rewiring. You are not fighting yourself, you are fighting a habit loop that's been rehearsed thousands of times. And once you realize that, it suddenly feels a whole lot less personal. So why do cravings feel so intense when you start carnivore? It comes down to three main things: brain chemistry, energy shifts, and plain old habits. First, brain chemistry. For years your body has been running on sugar and carbs. Every time you ate bread, pasta, chocolate, or even fruit, your brain got a dopamine hit. It was basically your reward system saying, oh yeah, that's the good stuff, do it again. When you pull that away overnight, dopamine dips. Your brain doesn't like dipping. It throws alarms, it makes you think about sugar more, it will even make you dream about it. It's not because you need it, it's because your brain is temporarily sulking like it's lost its favorite toy. Second, energy shifts. In the first few days of carnivore, your glycogen, the sugar stored in your muscles and liver, starts running out. Normally your body tops that up every time you eat carbs. Without it, you will feel a little low energy, maybe foggy. That's when cravings hit the hardest, because your body is basically saying, hey, quick fix please, toss me a muffin and let's get back to normal. But once fat adaptation kicks in, those sugar alarms quiet down. Your body learns to pull steady energy from fat instead of begging for quick carbs. And then the sneakiest one, habits. Not hunger, not biology, just patterns. If you always had chips during a Netflix binge or dessert after dinner, your brain expects that routine. It doesn't even care what food it is. It just wants the ritual. That's why you can be stuffed after a ribeye and still feel like something is missing. What's missing isn't food, it's the habit loop. Now that you know cravings can come from brain chemistry, energy shifts, or plain habit, the next step is figuring out which craving you're dealing dealing with in the moment. Not every craving is built the same, and if you try to fight them all with the same trick, you will lose more often than you win. Let's break it down into 4 types. Number 1, real hunger. This is when your body is actually asking for fuel. You will feel it in your stomach. Maybe low energy, maybe even a little cranky. That's a legit hunger signal. A craving like that means you probably didn't eat enough protein and fat earlier, and your body wants more. Simple fix: eat. Number 2, habit cravings. These sneak up during routines. Watching Netflix, you suddenly want popcorn. Sitting at your desk mid-afternoon, a chocolate bar sounds like it would help. The truth is, your brain isn't asking for food, it's just running an old script. It's the same as automatically buckling your seatbelt when you get in the car. You have tied food to the actual activity so many times that the craving fires on autopilot. Number 3, stress cravings. Rough day at work, argument with your boss, maybe you're just exhausted, and suddenly ice cream feels like a solution. This isn't real hunger, it's self-soothing. Your body wants the quick dopamine bump to cover up the stress hormones floating around. And number 4, social cravings. Friday night, everyone's ordering pizza and wings, and suddenly your ground beef and eggs at home doesn't sound so exciting. That's not hunger, that's social wiring. We are hardwired to eat what the group is eating, so your brain goes, don't be left out, grab a slice. Once you start noticing which type of craving is hitting you, everything changes. Because then you don't just say, I'm craving sugar. You can actually say, okay, that's a stress craving. Totally different animal, here's how I will handle it. And that's what we are going into next. The practical, immediate fixes you can use to shut cravings down on the spot. So let's say the craving has already hit. You are standing in the kitchen, fridge door open, scanning like you're about to find treasure. What do you actually do in that moment? First option, salt and water. A lot of cravings, especially the sugar ones, are actually your body shouting for electrolytes. Just pour yourself a glass of water, add a pinch of salt, and sip. 9 times out of 10, the I need chocolate now signal will back off once your body gets the minerals it was really after. Second option, eat real food. Fat and protein. I know that sounds too simple, but hear me out. Cravings thrive when your stomach is empty or your blood sugar is bouncing around. If you take a few bites of something fatty, even just some bacon, you hit your satiety hormones hard and fast. Protein and fat tell your body, we are good, stand down. Way more effectively than trying to out-willpower a cookie craving. Third option, change the channel. Literally. Cravings get louder when you just sit in them. Do 10 push-ups, walk around the block, or even just go brush your teeth. It sounds silly, but minty toothpaste can kill a sugar craving on the spot. No one wants to ruin that fresh mouth with a spoonful of ice cream. Quick fixes are great when a craving hits out of nowhere, but the real win is setting things up so cravings barely show up in the first place. Think of this part like installing better locks on your doors instead of just chasing burglars around the yard. The first big one is do not undereat. A lot of people jump into carnivore thinking it's all about restriction. Tiny portions, trying to power through on steak fumes. The problem is, if you're undereating, your body will eventually push back. Real hunger shows up dressed as cravings, and then you're 5 bites away from falling face first into a tub of ice cream. The fix is very simple. Eat plenty of protein and fat at meals so you're actually satisfied. Carnivore has nothing to do with starving. It's about fueling differently. Second, meal prep. This doesn't need to be fancy Instagram containers with labels. It just means having food ready to go. When you have got cooked beef patties or leftover roast in the fridge, it's way easier to handle a sudden craving than when your only option is Uber Eats waving pizza ads in your face. Third, clear the battlefield. If your pantry looks like a sugar museum, guess what's going to call your name at 10 p.m.? If the food isn't there, you don't have to fight yourself over it. Out of sight, out of stomach. Stock your kitchen with foods that actually support your diet, and you cut out half the temptation automatically. And the sneaky one a lot of people don't think about is sleep. If you are running on 5 hours of broken sleep, your body ramps up ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and dials down leptin, the hormone that tells you that you are full. That combo is a craving storm. Studies show that sleep-deprived people crave carbs and sugar way more aggressively than people who slept well, which means sometimes the smartest way to crush cravings is to close the fridge and go to bed. When you put all of these together, eating enough, prepping, cleaning up your environment, and actually resting, you will notice cravings show up less often and with way less intensity. And that leads into the next piece, shifting how you think about cravings. Because even with the best prevention, they are going to pop up here and there. The real difference comes when you stop seeing them as the enemy and start seeing them for what they really are, temporary protests. Think of cravings like muscle memory. You know when you delete an app on your phone, but for weeks afterward your thumb still drifts to the exact spot where the icon used to be. That's your brain running old code. It doesn't mean the app is back, it just means your brain needs time to update. Cravings work the same way. They show up out of habit, not necessity, and over time the signal gets weaker until it barely registers. Cravings often show up right before they're about to fade for good. Your brain gives one last, "Hey, are you sure we don't want sugar anymore?" push before it quiets down. In other words, the craving that you're feeling might actually be a sign that your body is adjusting and moving in the right direction. When you see them that way, signals of healing instead of proof of weakness, you strip them of most of their power. Instead of panicking or beating yourself up, you can say, "All right, that's just an echo. It will pass." Now, while cravings fade over time, sometimes you just want something that scratches the itch without wrecking your progress. That's where the smart replacements come in. Think of these like carnivore approved decoys that keep your brain happy while staying on track. If you're craving crunch, the easiest swap is pork rinds. They are salty, crispy, and hit the same button that chips or popcorn would. Keep a bag around for movie nights and you won't feel like you're missing out. If you are craving something rich or dessert-like, a little butter cold with a sprinkle of salt can be surprisingly satisfying. Some people also whip cream cheese or eat a piece of high-fat cheese. It's not cake, sure, but the fat triggers satiety in a way that shuts down the "I need sweet" voice faster than you would expect. If you are craving comfort food, melt cheese over ground beef. It's hearty, warm, and feels like a guilty pleasure even though it's totally unplanned. The texture and richness scratch that "I need something heavy and cozy" craving better than anything else. You don't have to sit there white knuckling every craving. You just need replacements that feel like treats while still keeping you inside the boundaries of carnivore. That said, there's a catch, because not all alternatives are created equal and a lot of people sabotage themselves without realizing it. So before you run out and stock up, let's talk about what not to do when it comes to cravings. First up, we have keto snacks and sweeteners. I get it. They look harmless on the surface. A little zero sugar ice cream, a diet soda, maybe a handful of keto cookies. The problem is that your brain doesn't care about the calorie label or the sugar alcohol. It just sees sweet, fires off the same reward pathways, and keeps the craving cycle alive. You are basically training your brain to stay addicted, just in a different costume. Second, ignoring hunger. If you are actually hungry and you try to tough it out with sheer willpower, the cravings will come back louder. Hunger is your body asking for nutrients. It doesn't mean that you have failed, it means you need to eat more real food. Trying to fight a craving with an empty stomach is like trying to argue with someone while you're half asleep. It's not going to end well. Third, assuming cravings mean that you need carbs. This is one of the easiest mental traps to fall into. You feel a sugar craving and think, maybe my body is asking for fruit. Maybe I should just have some. What it is really asking for is stability, fuel, minerals, sleep. Carbs are the shortcut it's used to, not the real solution. When you avoid these traps, cravings lose most of their power. And once you stop feeding them, literally and figuratively, they fade faster than you would expect. The best part is that on the other side of this phase, there's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Food freedom. When cravings are gone, you don't feel chained to sugar or snacks anymore. That's where you're heading, and it's worth every awkward craving battle along the way. So what's the today's takeaway? Cravings aren't a sign that you are failing. They are normal part of the process. They can be handled, and most importantly, they don't last forever. Once your body fully adapts, the noise quiets down and food feels simple again. I want you to remember, everyone who's ever gone through this diet has dealt with cravings in some shape or form. You are not the odd one out. You are not weaker than anyone else. You are just human. And the fact that you're even tackling this challenge says way more about your strength than a moment of craving ever could. The cool part is, when you push through this phase, you start experiencing something most people don't even believe is possible. Food freedom. That feeling when junk food just doesn't have the same pull anymore. Where your energy is steady, your meals are satisfying, and you're not constantly thinking about what's in the pantry. That's what's waiting on the other side. Now, I would love to hear from you. What's the toughest craving you had to deal with so far? Drop it in the comments because I promise you're not alone in it. Half the people here have probably fought the exact same craving, and sharing it makes the whole process feel a lot less like a solo mission. So stick with it. Use the tools we talked about, and keep reminding yourself that cravings are temporary, but the results that you're chasing are permanent. Thank you so much for being here today. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll meet you here next time on Meet Carnivore.